They deleted my last upload.
Access denied.
The ability of the owners of the political media class to discredit and neutralize anyone who poses a threat to their interests simply by rearranging the narratives about them is one of the most destructive psychological weapons in their arsenal. The main reason it's so hard to convince the public that they have been taken in by propaganda and smear campaigns is because, for some stupid reason, one of the most shameful things anyone can do in our society is be fooled. If we are to overcome the narrative dominance of the powerful, it is essential that we find a way to shift that shame from those who have been fooled onto those who have been fooling them.
What is life? Life is simple. It's choice and consequence. Choice and consequence. People are blind in their mind to what's actually happening.
Things are moving fast in the world today. They really are. And they're all going in the same direction, and it's happening in all countries. The problem is that many people look at this stuff and they just go directly into fear. And look, it's understandable. I mean, I'm certainly concerned about it. There's a lot to be concerned about with what's happening. But too often people will look at it and say, well, it's happening, we just don't have a choice. We all have a choice. The only reason people think they don't have a choice is because they don't know who and what they are.
This is the mind blindness. One of the things it seeks to do, and the cult seeks to do, is shut this down. What it seeks to do is stop this manifesting by closing the heart. And the heart is the center of everything. And people talk about the physical heart, okay, but if you go back, what they're really talking about is this heart, the energetic heart, the connection out there. And you look at all the things, all the symbolism through the ages and still today relating to this. Open heart, heart of stone, broken heart. You look at all the phrases relating to the heart, and it's because this is the center of everything. And we've been manipulated to think this is the center of everything. It's not. The heart is the biggest electromagnetic field, most powerful electromagnetic field in the body. And this, when it's open, dominates the head. What do people say all the time? What does your head say? Okay, what does your heart say? And they say very different things, because this is out there and this is down here. And when this opens, everything changes because you change. Everything about you changes.
The reason this has become so prominent in modern society is because our societies themselves are fear-based. It's simply a system of fear-based mind control. I mean, that's all it really is. Our education system is fear-based. Our social structure is fear-based. Our corporate and business world is all fear-based. It's all centered around a fear of shortage and the concept that the meaning of life is the one with the most stuff wins. And it's all fear-based. It's all fear-based and ego-based.
Stop identifying with labels. They are a brief experience. Even your name is a brief experience. You are the consciousness having the experience. So when someone says to you, who are you? You are all that is, has been, and ever can be having an experience. If you meet someone and people say, who are you? They'll give you their name. They'll give you their job. They might give you their family background, their family history, where they went to school. That's what they're saying they are. Who are you? But that's just what they've experienced. The point of attention that I am is an expression of the same consciousness that the point of attention that you are is. And the same with all of us. You are what is having the experience. And when that penny drops and this, as a result, opens, game over. Game over. This is not some theory. This is fact, and this is real, and this is happening. This is precisely what happens with subliminal advertising and subliminal images. Subliminal means below threshold. Below the threshold of the conscious mind. It's speaking to the subconscious. So you'll see an image, it could be an advertisement, and your conscious mind will see the image as it appears to be. But the overwhelming majority of people will not see the subliminal insert that's hidden.
You're obliged to pretend respect for people and institutions you think absurd. You live attached in a cowardly fashion to moral and social conventions you despise, condemn, and know lack all foundation. It is that permanent contradiction between your ideas and desires and all the dead formalities and vain pretenses of your civilization which makes you sad, troubled, and unbalanced. In that intolerable conflict you lose all joy of life and all feeling of personality, because at every moment they suppress and restrain and check the free play of your powers. And that is the poisoned and mortal wound of the civilized world. What is this shift that is happening in the world today? I've found that most people want the freedom to be able to go down the shop and buy their food. They want the freedom to be able to buy a house somewhere. They want the freedom to work at whatever job they wish to work at. Freedom to marry who they please, drive whatever car they would like to drive, and to run whatever business they would like to run. And they're prepared to pay whatever costs are incurred by doing all of these things. But of course all of these things also include the freedom to pay taxes, the freedom to do what you're told, and the freedom to walk between the lines and follow whatever rules the politicians give you to follow. I mean, why do you have to buy a house? Why shouldn't you be given a house simply because you're alive? Why do you have to pay to be alive? If you wish to marry someone, why do you need to purchase a marriage license and get the government involved and turn it into a three-way contract? Isn't it between you and the person you love? If so, why do you need to get the government involved? Well, that's right, it's because of the economic value that's attached to your love, to your wedding, and it's information you may need in the settlement should you ever get divorced, because you need to look at all the economics of the whole thing. But really, what does economics have to do with love? And if you're going to place conditions on the person that you're marrying and you wish to create a prenuptial agreement and all this sort of stuff, well, do you really love the person, or is your marriage simply a matter of economics? But that's what freedom is to people. It's freedom to conduct their life in an economic manner, freedom to purchase what they want to purchase, freedom to be enslaved to a corporate system. And what it also means for many people is the freedom to point and complain about all these control mechanisms while demanding their freedom. But really, what freedom is it that they're wanting? What is this freedom for most people? Because most people don't actually want to be free. Most people simply want to complain about not being free, but they don't actually want to be free, because freedom is 100% self-responsibility. That's what freedom is. It certainly isn't anything else. I mean, it isn't freedom of choice. Freedom of choice is part of freedom, but freedom of choice is not freedom. Freedom is 100% liability for all your actions, everything you say and do. That's what true freedom is. True freedom is owning yourself and being responsible for that. And what I've found is that most people, even those who complain the loudest about not being free, and in fact especially those who complain the loudest about not being free, are absolutely terrified of true freedom. Technology isn't freedom. I'd like to be free enough to not have to log onto the computer every day and go on the air every week, gently asking people to wake up before we head into a nightmare transhumanist world where all freedom is lost. I much prefer not to have to do that, and so I personally can't wait until people wake up to the fact that they actually are free, should they choose to be so. It's time for us all to get together. We've got to stop fighting amongst ourselves. We've got to stop looking for the one perfect remedy that's going to be given to us on a silver platter. We've got to start thinking about ourselves, realize that remedy starts at home. It starts in your own heart. No one can come and fix your life for you. No one can offer you a system that's going to work, because it's a control system, whatever it is. If it's a system, then it's a control system. And we don't need a control system. What we need is to always operate from our hearts in all that we do, to live in a state of service for creation, but also putting ourselves on an equal par with everybody else. Don't give too much credit to people around you who claim to be your controllers, because ultimately they're no different to you. And don't give the system too much credit. Don't perceive that it is this all-empowering thing that can come and devour you, because just that belief will make it so. And once people gain that understanding alone, it's an incredibly empowering understanding. We're seeing a time in history when mankind remembers who and what we are, when we remember our connection to the planet, when we begin to understand and remember our connection to all reality and to all creation, and we begin to remember the power that we have to bring about positive change. So my question is, do you feel free now? And if you don't, then what will it take to make you feel free? And if you ever are free, what will you do with that freedom?